prose lesson, The Old Man River. The Old Man River is the name of a river. So what is this about? This is a drama which tells how five young children aged between 19 to 17 are stranded in a house and their town is being flooded. So using their wits and the available resources that they have at that time, how do they seek by themselves rescue from that difficult situation, and how are they surviving there until help requires. So before we move on to this lesson, what will happen when our beautiful earth is being affected? So what will happen is when we do something to this earth, or when we disturb the nature in result will destroy the human society. So that is why we need to preserve all the natural resources that are there on our beautiful earth. So that is what this poem or this lesson also tells about. So before we move on to this lesson, let's see about the author. The author of this lesson, Old Man River, is Dorothy Deming. She was born in 1893 and she is an American writer. She is not only a writer, she is also a nurse. And all her works were written in enticing the women to become a nurse to serve the society. So she was very much interested in this nursing field. And most of her works, like all her stories, were also mainly stressed on nursing. She also wrote on the history of nursing, and one of her best feats was penning marsh. So, in her remembrance, many clubs were also started, like fan clubs were also started in schools, stressing on this nursing. So, let's move on to the lesson. So, before we move on to the lesson, let's see the characters. So in this, the main five characters are Amy Marshall. She's a 70-year-old girl, and her sister Betty Marshall. We have their neighbors Rose Field, who is 16 years old. Sister Sarah Field. She's 9 years old girl, and we have one more neighbor of Amy Marshall. He is Jim Hall, and he is also 17 years old boy. So these are the five children who are mainly in this, or the main characters in this story, and how they are going to get survived in this flood, and how they are being rescued by the rescue team. So apart from these five characters, we have Miss Marsh and Mr. Peters, who are the Red Cross members. So they are the one who are rescuing these five children. So let's move on to the lesson. So it was late afternoon in March, and Amy, Betty and Rose were all sitting in the living room. So that is what we call as hall. So they were all sitting in the living room, and Amy and Rose were knitting. So knitting, it's a kind of sewing a woolen dress. So they were knitting, and Betty was looking at some pictures in the magazines. So there was heavily raining outside, and it has been raining for past 3 days. Just then Betty says that I heard in the radio saying that there is going to be heavy rain, and it's been continuously raining for 3 days. Now just then they don't have their parents at home. Mrs. Marshall had taken her son, that is Amy's son Dick, to a dentist, and she said that I will be back. On the way I will be visiting my friend to get a recipe. So I will even be visiting there after coming from the dentist, and then I'll be back home. Even the father was not at home. He had gone to Chicago for a business work. So the girls were all alone at home, and it was raining very badly outside. Just then, as the girls were talking, Jim Hall enters in, and he says that there has been a cloudburst. So he comes with an important news saying that there is a cloudburst. So what is a cloudburst means? You have a sudden heavy rainfall, which cannot be, it's not normal. It's more than a heavy actually. Suddenly you will have their group of clouds, dark clouds coming and pouring, just like pouring down from a tap. So there is a cloud burst, and because of this rain, the snow caps all on the mountains have started melting. And when they have started melting, the Old Man River, which is there beside our town, is being flooded. So at any time, the Burnett Dam, which is there, will be open. So once it is open, our whole town will be under water. So this was the news. As soon as the girls heard these news, they were really tense because there was no one elders at home, no parents, and the parents were not there. And Rose was also staying in Marshall's house. So they were all really tense. So Mrs. Marshall finds difficult to enter into the come to their hometown because the bridges which has been connecting the town and their house was completely inside the water. So it was almost inside the water. So there was no possibility of any vehicles crossing this bridge. So now they were really in a difficult situation. So they are very much all standing there and discussing. So that's when Jim Hall says now we should be very strong and we should not get scared of the situation. We ourselves should be very bold to face this. And since I am also a junior Red Cross member, so I know what to do at times of emergencies like this. So girls, come on, let's get organized. So he tells them to get ready for this, to face this difficult situation. So now the girls and Jim Hall directs them, guides them to get ready with what are the necessary things. So what are the necessary things that he tells them to get ready? So first thing, now he tells Betty to get ready with torches and lanterns. So lantern means it's a petrol box light. So he tells them to get ready with that, and then with candles. Of course, when the battery gets off or the oil gets over, now candles are going to come for help. So Betty gets ready, and then Amy brings the buckets, pails and bowls. So all these are the things that are needed. So whatever containers are there, just to fill with fresh water, because when there is a flood, the first thing, water gets contaminated. So we won't have fresh water for drinking. So Amy gets ready with fresh water in the pails. Pails means buckets. So some of the words are the American English. So the girls get ready with whatever things are needed for them at that time. And also Jim gets the food, blankets, coats, and the most important thing, the first aid kit. Because that is the most important when you need any help, medical help, you need that immediately. So he gets that all ready. So now the girls are getting ready with whatever things are needed. So now at that time, Amy gets a call from her mother saying that she is not able to come because the bridge is completely under water. It has been filled fully. Half of the bridge has been inside the water and she can't come inside. So she tells Amy to be careful and along with her sister, and also to take care of Rose also, and get the help whatever is needed from Jim Hall. Now as they were telling, so Jim goes outside and sees the water level now. So now the level of the water was still almost up to their garage. So what is garage means? The car shed. So the water level is continuously rising up. And Jim says to Amy that your house is in the directly situated to the Old Man River. So if the Burnett Dam is open, the water might come in a full speed and it might even enter the house also. Inside the house also at any time the water might come in. So the girls get really scared, and he tells not to get panic, and Jim tells so be ready with all the things, and after we are all ready we will move to the attic, that is to the roof. So we can signal there, from there the any help. I will switch on my torchlight and I'll be just signaling so people from outside can know that we are here stuck up here, so we might get any help. So he tells that as he was telling and discussing about this among the girls, just then a very soft voice, they hear a soft girl voice from outside. So this then Rose remembers that her sister was playing outside in the playhouse coach. Playhouse coach means you have a house like or playing area in the tree. So that is a playhouse coach, and she remembers her sister playing there. So Jim immediately goes there, comes outside the house to bring Sarah back to her inside the house. So the moment he went outside, the water level was nearly up to his knees, and it was continuously rising up. So Sarah was just a 9-year-old girl, and she could not stand there. She would get go deep inside the water. So he carried the picker bag. So picker bag means carrying the on the shoulder. So he was carrying her on the shoulder, and he even couldn't walk in the water because the speed of the water was increasing, and he was almost wet. So Amy tells Betty to get some of the father's clothes so Jim can change his dress. So she gets some of their father's dress and he gives it to her, and Jim carefully brings Sarah inside the house. Now the water was nearly above his knees. So immediately when Jim came inside, he tells the girls, surely by tomorrow morning the water might come inside the floor of the house. So he wants them immediately get ready with the things. So we will start moving to the roof. So after he tells that Jim now he moves to the attic of the roof and he takes a torch in his hand, and the girls they all go to the kitchen and get ready for the dinner. Now like this an hour has passed, and wait, now the current suddenly goes out, the power goes out. So Jim tells the powerhouse must be shut down, so there won't be any power. Light your candles and get ready with the lanterns. So we will all start moving up as soon as possible. So they all have their dinner and they also sit in the living room. So Sarah's now fallen asleep, and Betty is trying to read some books, and she tells it is really difficult to read in this candlelight, and she wonders how people in old days use this candlelight for all their works to be done. So as the girls were talking, suddenly they hear a bumping sound against the house. Bumping sound is like a crunching sound against the house. They get scared and they all come together. So Jim, now hearing that sound, comes down from the roof, and he asks who is it. So he knew it, like it's going to be someone from the rescue team. So he asked like who is it. So the people over there from outside, is there anyone inside? So we have come here to help you. So now Mr. Peters and Miss Marsh, they are the members of the Red Cross, and they have come here for the help. So Mr. Peters is a Red Cross member, and Miss Marsh, she is a Red Cross nurse. So they have come. So seeing the children, they ask, how come you are all alone? So just the lady tells about everything what is there, and so they couldn't get inside the house immediately. So the girls getting scared, by that time they were moving up the roof. So Jim, he comes down and he tells the girls to move up. So Sarah, Rose, they were almost on the step ladder moving to the roof. So once they find Mr. Peters coming down, Sarah, who was almost in the half sleep, she slipped off the step ladder and she fell down. So when she fell down, her right leg below the knee was broken. So she breaks her leg, her right leg below the knee gets broken. Now there was a huge crying sound, and in that tension, what happened? Betty dropped her candle and it was dark. So she shouts, someone bring the light. See, I don't know, she has fallen down, I don't know what has happened to her. So everyone goes there near the step ladder, and they find Sarah lying down. So now Jim carries her very carefully in his hand and he places her on the table that has been arranged for her to lie down. So once she is being made to lie down, Miss Marsh, she tells that I am a nurse, so I just go and check her. So she goes and checks her and she tells her that her right leg is broken. So immediately we need to do something. So the first thing that she gives over there was, so Miss Marsh splits her leg with the pillows and umbrella. Splits means tying it up. Because it's broken, it has to be kept straight. The broken leg cannot be left loose. So it has to be kept straight without any movement. So she takes a pillow and an umbrella and she ties it up like that. So that the leg is not moving. Now they lift her safely to the boat. So she's being taken safely to the boat. They cannot make her to walk. So they take her carefully to the boat. So in the boat, there are many children could not be taken out. So what Mr. Peters says is that Amy and Jim to stay back and they tell Rose, Betty and Sarah to come along with them. And once they have been dropped, they will send another boat. So when in the another boat, Amy and Jim can come back. So Amy and Jim tell, so we are not in a hurry. We want Sarah to be treated well and given her treatment. So first they send the other three girls and Jim Paul safely makes Sarah lie down on the boat. So Mr. Peters, he also gives an extra lantern and a cup of coffee, that is a jar of coffee for Amy and Jim to have till they get another rescue boat. So Amy and Jim were glad to have a well-equipped disaster committee like Red Cross. So Red Cross is a committee that helps people, especially during the wars and natural disasters time. So the children thank God for their timely rescue. So in this lesson, the children tells us how to face the difficult and the critical situation during any natural disaster and what are the main necessary things. In the story, we can also find Amy was trying to get the father's costly books and mother's jewels also. But then Jim tells her not to take those because it is not going to give them life. So it is the food and water or clothing which is very much needed at the time. So he tells her this is what is needed and not the jewels and books. So whatever is needed, so use your wits and whatever things are there at home during any flood at that time. So whatever things are there, with that we have to survive. And how to plan and stock the things that are required. We must never show others that we are very scared. When we are very scared, we get panic and we lose control ourselves and we don't know what to do at that time. We also see how the disaster committee has been giving a timely help. And this times at all, everyone needs help. And if you can also do that, you must also be a ready helper. So this is the theme of this lesson.